Pompeii was an ancient city of Campania, located at the foot of Mount Vesuvius, in a strategic position between the sea and the fertile inland of the Gulf of Naples. Founded probably between the 7th and 6th centuries BC, it had Oscan origins, was later influenced by the Etruscans and the Greeks, and eventually entered the Roman sphere permanently after the Samnite Wars. In the 1st century BC, after the Social War, it became a Roman colony under the name Colonia Cornelia Veneria Pompeianorum and gradually transformed into a city fully integrated into Rome's economic and cultural system. Pompeii was not a vast metropolis, but a lively and prosperous city with about 10,000, perhaps 20,000 inhabitants, a well-organized urban center, a forum, temples, baths, theaters, workshops, frescoed houses, paved streets, and a river port connected to the sea. It was a dynamic commercial hub linked to the agricultural production of the surrounding territory, famous for its wine and for garum, the fish sauce exported throughout the Mediterranean. In AD 62, a strong earthquake struck the Vesuvian area, severely damaging Pompeii and nearby cities such as Herculaneum and Stabiae. Archaeological excavations have shown that in AD 79, 17 years after the quake, many buildings were still under reconstruction. This fact is important because it indicates that the population lived within unstable territory and that Vesuvius, which for centuries had shown no clear signs of destructive activity, was perceived as a normal mountain, not a dangerous volcano. Modern geological studies have demonstrated that the eruption of AD 79 was not the first in Vesuvius history. The so-called Avellino event, which occurred around 1800 BC, had been devastating, but the memory of that eruption had been lost over time. Our main source for reconstructing the eruption is the letter Pliny the Younger wrote to the historian Tacitus, in which he recounts the death of his uncle, Pliny the Elder, commander of the Roman fleet at Misenum. Thanks to this testimony, the eruption of Vesuvius became the model of the so-called Plinian event, a type of eruption characterized by a very high eruptive column followed by successive phases of collapse. Modern volcanological studies, integrated with the stratigraphic data collected during excavations, have made it possible to reconstruct the sequence of events with considerable precision. Today, it is believed that the eruption most likely occurred on October 24th, AD 79, rather than August 24th as previously thought, based on new evidence such as the discovery of autumn fruits, lit braziers, and a charcoal inscription dated to mid-October. In the early afternoon, around 1 o'clock, a violent explosion opened the volcanic conduit and a column of ash, pumice, and gas rose more than 20 kilometers into the sky. In Pompeii, a rain of white pumice began to fall, light fragments of volcanic rock expelled at extremely high speed. This phase lasted for many hours. Houses began to fill with volcanic material accumulating on the roofs, causing progressive collapses. Excavations have shown that many inhabitants attempted to flee during this phase, while others sought shelter inside their homes. The discovery of skeletons near doorways and along the streets indicates desperate attempts to leave the city. During the night, the composition of the eruptive column changed. The white pumice was replaced by gray pumice, and the weight of the deposits increased. In the early hours of the following morning, the most lethal phase occurred. The eruptive column collapsed, generating pyroclastic flows, burning clouds composed of gas, ash, and rock fragments moving at extremely high speeds, exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, with estimated temperatures between 300 and 600 degrees Celsius. Herculaneum was struck first by these incandescent currents, which caused the instantaneous death of many people, as shown by studies of human remains found in the waterfront vaults. In Pompeii, the first surges were less destructive but still devastating. The final and most powerful wave overwhelmed the city in the early morning hours, causing death by thermal shock and asphyxiation for those who had remained. Recent bioanthropological analyses have shown that many victims died within moments due to exposure to extreme temperatures that caused the vaporization of soft tissues and the fracturing of bones from thermal stress. The city remained buried under several meters of ash and volcanic material. Unlike Herculaneum, which was mainly covered by solidified pyroclastic flows, Pompeii was sealed by layers of ash that exceptionally preserved buildings, objects, and even the voids left by decomposed bodies. In 1863, the archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli introduced the plaster cast technique by pouring liquid plaster into the voids left by bodies in the hardened ash. Three-dimensional forms of the victims in their final moments of life were obtained. Today, more advanced techniques, such as computed tomography, allow researchers to analyze the interior of the casts without destroying them, revealing details about bones, personal objects, and health conditions. Excavations, which began in the 18th century under the Bourbons, have gone through different phases, from unsystematic interventions to modern scientific research. In recent decades, the so-called Great Pompeii Project has invested in the conservation and interdisciplinary study of the site. Archaeobotanical investigations have reconstructed diet and plant environment. Analyses of graffiti have revealed snapshots of daily life, including electoral announcements, declarations of love, and jokes. Studies of human remains have provided information about disease, diet, and population mobility. The recent discovery of spaces such as the Thermopolium in Regio 5, with still vivid frescoes, or the ceremonial chariot found at Civita Juliana, has expanded our understanding of the local elites. Today, Pompeii is one of the most studied archaeological sites in the world and represents a unique laboratory for understanding Roman society in the first century. The Last Night is no longer just a dramatic story, but a sequence reconstructed through the integration of literary sources, volcanology, stratigraphic archaeology, physical anthropology, and digital technologies. The tragedy froze a moment in history, allowing scholars to observe daily life with a level of detail that is extremely rare in the ancient world. Pompeii is not only the symbol of a catastrophe, but also the concrete testimony of the fragility of ancient cities in the face of nature, and, at the same time, of the extraordinary capacity of modern scientific research to bring to light, almost minute by minute, the truth of what happened in AD 79.